Welcome to episode 17 of the Route 281 podcast. Today's guest is Rockwood Area School District Superintendent Mark Bauer. Just grateful to get to know him a little bit better, spend some time with him. He offers us a lot of great insight into the public education system, how important our kids are, and all the opportunities that they have available to them there. So grateful for the job he and his staff are doing there at Rockwood. So we hope you enjoy this episode. If you're on YouTube, hit the like and subscribe button. And also you can catch this on Spotify at Route 281 Podcast. So we hope you enjoy the episode. Okay, we're rolling. Superintendent Mark Bauer, thanks for being here.
Good to be here.
Yeah, I just greatly appreciate you coming. And I'm always, forgot the mic. Pull that up about as close as you can. You can adjust, turn it up. Yeah.
Is that good?
Yeah, it should be.
Okay.
Closer the better, but
All right.
as long as it's comfortable. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just always, as long as people are willing to come and sit and talk with me, I'll keep doing this.
Yeah.
And I think it just impresses me when I ask people to come, they are willing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well then we'll keep recording and putting episodes out there. But this would be episode 17 now. I started this. First episode was March 1st with Dr. Bill Krauscher. Do you know Bill?
Sure. No, Bill?
Actually, Bill recommended you for the podcast.
Oh, okay. I'll have to thank Bill then.
Yeah, you were on my list anyway.
Okay.
But when he recommended, I'm like, yeah, I got to pull that trigger. So that's kind of what led me to reach out to you there a few weeks ago. But I do greatly appreciate you being here. I genuinely want to get to know you a little bit better, and I think that most of the people in the district probably do too. And I think I speak for a lot of them whenever I say thank you, and you guys are doing a really good job. And I feel grateful for Rockwood that I can send my 3 kids there and know they're in good hands. There's a lot of great teachers there, a lot of common sense, and that's important today.
Yes.
Common sense, when you see it, you know it, and you can really be grateful for the people that have it, especially the people that are taking care of your kids.
Right. Yep.
Because you can see, unfortunately, some bad scenarios. But
Right.
we're fortunate here in the Little Highlands to have school districts like Rockwood and so many others like it, I'm sure, as you know, other superintendents and school leaders that would have a like-minded approach to public education.
Yes. We're blessed.
Yeah.
We're blessed to be here. As your children attend Rockwood Area School District, my 3 children attend Rockwood Area School District, and that was a choice.
Yeah.
And wanted them to attend a school district that had high standards and would provide opportunities that would prepare them for life. So, again, truly blessed to be able to work there. And
what a challenge that is to prepare kids for life.
oh, absolutely.
I mean, it's kind of a heavy weight, don't you think?
It is, but it's our greatest responsibility.
Yeah.
It really is. And I can't think of any more important of a mission than preparing kids for life so that they can be productive and contributing members to our world and to our society. Yeah.
It's nice to have a place where they can go with it. There's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot that kids can get into that, maybe they shouldn't, but it is nice to know that there's a place where they can go where that stuff is suppressed, and we're just here to learn and pour into children.
Yeah. We try and limit those distractions as best we can.
Yeah.
And it's challenging.
Oh, I'll bet. The cell phone is probably a challenge.
Greatest challenge.
Is it really?
Yes, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
How so? What is challenging about these kids with cell phones now?
Well, I think we're blessed at Rockwood. Our board has always had the position that, cell phones are to be, out of sight and off, and should not be a disruption, should not be a distraction. There are districts that fully embraced allowing students to have their cell phones out during class time, during lunchtime, and those sorts of things. And our board has always held the position that they're a distraction and have not allowed them to be out during the school day.
Nice, good, thank you.
But I think really two big challenges with cell phones, occur because I think you're walking around basically with a computer in your hand.
Yeah.
And so, and we're all guilty of it. I'm guilty of it.
Yeah.
It becomes a distraction in your daily life.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you become disconnected from those around you.
Yeah.
And so one challenge is that I think oftentimes, kids come to school and they come from a situation where they haven't been supported as much, and sometimes it's because of cell phones and parents disconnected. And I really believe that our most important role as parents is to spend time with our kids, play games with them, read to them, go outside and do activities, participate in activities. And sometimes we get distracted, and I'm guilty of it. There was no judgment. Absolutely guilty of it. And but I think that when you can have a purpose of putting your cell phone to the side for a couple of hours every day, and engage with your family and your friends, I think that that's a good thing. And so in that way, I think that cell phones have been a negative factor. But at the same time, they provide positive benefits as well.
We live in an age of information.
Yes.
And I mean, you can access information. We didn't grow up in that world.
Right.
So tell me a little bit about how you grew up and what was different for you versus what kids face today.
Sure.
And
Sure. Sometimes I feel guilty saying this, but I was blessed to be born into a family with two parents that, in my mind, every child deserves. Two parents that provided a positive, stable, life and home.
It's incredibly important.
Loving, positive, and not blessed in a way of providing material things, but blessed in a way of providing opportunities and experiences for my brother and I. It's not that we had a lot. We had enough, but I was blessed to had a father and a mother that we spent a lot of time together when I was growing up, and really it's what led to me living here in Somerset County with my family, raising my family here. Moved away for a year when I graduated from college, moved out east to Lancaster and taught at a school district, Lampeter, Strasburg, taught physics and chemistry there for a year. It was a professional dream, thought I would be there the rest of my life. And then we found out that we were expecting our first son and our first child, and made the decision to move home after driving the Pennsylvania Turnpike 26 times in 1 year to come home. And realized that wasn't going to be a good situation trying to raise a family, and wanted to raise our family close to home. And Somerset County, I think, has some magic magnets in the ground that seem to attract people back to back to here. And
similar situation. Like we were saying, we've got a lot of similarities. My wife and I were away after college. We lived in Pittsburgh for a number of years until we had our first, and then moved back here.
My wife was teaching in Lancaster. Same thing. We moved home, made the decision at the time, as I said earlier. I thought it was a sacrifice, but really it was a blessing. Made the decision for her to stay at home with our kids, and we were fortunate to be able to do that. And found a way to make that happen. And it wasn't until a few years back that she returned to teaching and as a reading specialist in the Somerset School District.
That's crazy. That's what Lindsay's degree's in. Amazing. So tell me a little bit about your kids.
Sure, absolutely. As I said, blessed to have had all of them graduate from Rockwood. Jacob is my oldest, and he graduated in 2014, and he's currently serving in the Air Force. He's an Air Force pilot stationed in Okinawa, Japan. This week, though, he's in Alaska, and he flies refueler jets for the Air Force. And again, I don't know that he would be where he is if it wouldn't be for the education that he received in the Rockwood Area School District.
Did he go right into the military after high school, or did he go to college first? Or?
So he went to Penn State and entered the ROTC program. knew he wanted to become a pilot, and honestly, I think I didn't realize at the time that I brainwashed him most of his life. I always had an interest in aviation, and at one point had the aspiration to become a pilot, and did not pursue those dreams, but. We always took our kids to air shows and military, events and those sorts of things where military personnel were being honored or memorialized, and always held military personnel on a pedestal. And so when my kids were growing up, the military, the veterans were their heroes, and so in a way, I guess we brainwashed them into not realizing it. But,
right.
Yeah.
I may be doing that with my kids. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, they talk about it. So,
Yeah.
That's very cool. So he went to the Air Force after Penn State.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So when he graduated from Penn State, he commissioned as a second lieutenant in the Air Force. And there are lots of ways you can become an officer in the military. One of those ways being the ROTC at a college. There are other opportunities. You go to an academy. You can enlist and work your way up and earn a college degree and become an officer. So there are lots of different ways to become an officer. But you have to be an officer to be able to be trained then as a pilot. He went to Mississippi and received his wings down there, and then to Oklahoma and learned to fly the KC-135.
Which is what he flies now.
Which is what he flies now. A plane that was built in the late 50s and early 60s, believe it or not. So,
hey, oldie but a goodie.
That's right.
They don't make things like they used to.
They don't.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Great. Grateful that he's serving his country.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Same. And one regret in life, and that's probably, I have other regrets in life. One major regret in life that I don't have military service.
Yeah.
And can't go back and do it over.
Yeah.
Wish that I could.
That's so funny you say that, because I think about it all the time. Like when I was turning 35, and I was working with a young man who just come out of basic training. We were building bridges, and he was teaching me the walk, the pivot, and all this. We're on scaffolding, on a bridge deck, and he's like, he used to call me Tango. And he's like, you can pivot, Tango. He's like, you should go. So I looked into it. I went to the bike trail, ran 3 miles to see if I could do it under 9 minutes or whatever it was, and I just realized, my mission is here at home right now.
That's right.
But I guess that ship has sailed, but also one of mine.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just very curious about what it's like, and wanted to be able to say I serve my country.
Yeah.
So my family's very grateful for all those who serve.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a sacrifice, even when you're not at war. There are obviously conflicts around the world all the time, and they're involved in those things. But the sacrifice that I don't think that maybe the person that doesn't have experience with the military is the fact that you're away from your family, for such a long period of time. It can be months. It could be, weeks. There are times when he gets sent away for, a couple weeks for a mission or a training. It could be a couple months. He's lived in Okinawa for the last year, and he's probably spent less time there than he's actually spent there. He's been back to the United States a couple times, and different countries in the Pacific. And
does he like Japan?
He does.
Have you been to visit?
We went the end of June, early July. Spent 3 weeks with him in Japan.
Oh wow!
And what a phenomenal experience!
Really,
and a really cool culture. Very clean, and quiet and respectful and calm. It's an amazing culture, and it was just a once in a lifetime experience for us, which we wouldn't have had if he wouldn't have been stationed there. So
Wow, interesting. Cool and calm. I like that.
Yeah, definitely calm.
Exactly like America right now, right?
Oh yeah. The one day we were in a grocery store, and he was down the aisle a little bit, and I called to him, and he turned and he looked at me and he corrected me. He said, Dad, you gotta be quiet in here.
And your voice carries.
Yes.
You have a big booming voice that carries. So it's probably hard to control that.
Yes.
Which is perfect for the position that you hold right now.
A little energy sometimes, too much energy sometimes too. So
cool.
Yeah.
And you have another son
Yes.
in the military.
I have a son, Tanner, graduated in 2017 from Rockwood, and received an appointment to the Naval Academy in Annapolis. Earned his degree there and his commission there, and then his commission was with the Marine Corps. So became a Marine Corps officer, again second lieutenant. All Marine Corps officers then have to go to a year of training in Quantico, as if he were going to be serving, in an infantry type setting. Spent a year there. He was married right out of the academy. Spent that next year away from his wife. And she is also an Air Force officer and was stationed then in Florida. So they were apart during that year. But he learned to be a Marine Corps officer, and then was transferred to Pensacola to learn to fly airplanes, and then subsequently spent a year in Mississippi learning to fly jets. And so he received his jet wings back in April, and was selected to go to South Carolina to train on the F-35, the fifth generation stealth fighters.
Fighter.
So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
You're a Top Gun family.
I guess. I don't know. I think they watched that a few times growing up.
Yeah.
Maybe once a week with Dad.
That's funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an inspiring movie. Both of them. Actually, the second one, when there's a sequel, it's rarely better than the first.
Right.
But the second was right there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Really enjoyed both of those. And so there's three different versions of the F-35, the Alpha, the Bravo, and the Charlie. Mm-hmm. And each one has a different purpose. He'll be training on the Bravo, which is an aircraft. It's a fighter jet that takes off vertically and can land on on a ship, not necessarily an aircraft carrier. Can land on an aircraft carrier, but can take off and hover and carry out missions.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
And then you have one more kid, right?
Yes, I have a daughter. And she graduated in 2020, the year of COVID.
Oh, wow.
And finished her year learning remotely, and missed out on a lot of end of senior year activities, which was a disappointment to her. But at the same time, believe it or not, I think there were some blessings that came out of that.
Yeah.
One of those being able to spend more time with family.
Yeah.
But she had an interest in nursing, and she went to Ruby Memorial down in Morgantown and shadowed when she was a junior in the NICU. Mm-hmm. And she came home after that experience and said, I want to be a NICU nurse in Morgantown. And interestingly enough, then when she graduated, she went to Waynesburg and earned her nursing degree, and a month after graduation started at Ruby Memorial in Morgantown as a NICU nurse.
Wow.
And again, I share those things because I think they represent many of the young people that come out of Rockwood and are successful in life and are contributing members of society. And not that you have to go to college to be successful, mm-hmm. Because we all know there are lots of people that graduate from high school and go on to mm-hmm. become successful and do very, very well and contribute to the community.
Yeah.
It's just one pathway. And
right.
And I think that at Rockwood we do a really good job of giving kids opportunities, educational, extracurricular, which are educational, to give them the experience that they need to go on then in life and do whatever they choose to do.
Yeah.
But they certainly can become successful with the education they receive at Rockwood.
Right. And it's got to be mostly, it's more the individual. Like, you can take that high school education and do so many things with it. If the individual is motivated, is purpose-driven, and realizes that, I do want to contribute in some way. So it's nice to see three shining examples of that. So
it is.
Yeah.
And I'm blessed in my career because this is 18 years. I just finished 18 years as the superintendent at Rockwood. So I've had the opportunity to see a lot of kids start in kindergarten and finish, and walk across the stage of graduation. So
I just missed you then.
Yep.
So were you were you in the school district before that?
So I started at Rockwood in 2003.
Okay.
As
I just missed you.
Yeah. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Oh, it's a bad thing. Yeah.
Okay.
So, I don't know for you, because I might have been likely to be seen in your office, and now here you are talking with me, about your experiences. But
that's okay. I liked being the high school principal and spending time with kids in my office. So, yeah.
I've been in both. I've been in all three: elementary principal's office, high school principal's office, and the superintendent's office once or twice. And we weren't bad. We were just ornery.
Ornery's okay.
We did things that, we just had fun, and sometimes that got us into trouble.
Yeah.
But I think it's different now. Like, either kids don't know how to have fun, or they take things too far.
Yeah.
And I don't know. But we were like that group that secretly the teachers liked us. From maybe but we'd get a little side eye.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we get the finger, wagging at us a little bit.
Yeah.
But,
I probably shouldn't share any individual stories, but there were plenty of kids that I really admired that were ornery.
Yeah.
Got themselves into trouble, but as principals and teachers, we have a responsibility then to kind of channel that energy and help them learn positive lessons out of those situations.
Well, you take the public school system, or just school in general, and you stick a kid in a classroom that is just jumping out of his seat, wants to do this and be outside, and he's looking out the window, wants to be anywhere but there.
Right.
And you've got to now get his attention or her attention and try to teach them something that they don't want to learn.
Right.
That's a difficult job.
It is. And it's even harder in this day and age because they are constantly being entertained.
Yes.
Whether it be, television, computer, they have constant, entertainment. And so as a teacher, you not only have to be a teacher, you have to be an entertainer and to be able to capture, a child's interest. And, I often tell folks that when I went to elementary school, I wasn't made to sit in a desk all day long. And I was probably one of those ornery boys that got into trouble. But, and especially my second son, I said he wasn't made for sitting at a desk, but you find a way to make it work.
Yeah. I grew up on a dairy farm. Was outside all the time. We rode 4-wheelers, dirt bikes, did the fair. It was always hands-on. Everything was hands-on for me. So when I was old enough to enroll in VOTEC, that was one of the best things that ever happened to me.
Absolutely.
And I guess at the time, maybe there was a stigma, you were a techer, this or that, but I had friends who were in the, college prep courses and stuff like that. Nobody really saw it that way.
Right.
It may be on the outside, but kids interacted, didn't matter where, we were all friends anyway.
Right.
But for me, I loved it. Went for welding, had Carrie Philippi as my teacher there.
Wow.
And also cross-trained in machine shop, so I did both. Welding, machine shop, went to work, did the co-op program. And it was great for me because I was hands-on. I was doing something. I learned a trade, a new skill that I could take with me no matter what, and nobody could take that away from me.
Right.
I could go work as a welder tomorrow if I wanted to, or a machinist somewhere. Right. And I'm confident that I could do that. But
and I think our model, we have our critics as far as doing half day, tech center, half day homeschool. There've been multiple models. I've worked and taught in each one, semester about or 2-week about, where they were you either spent a semester at the tech center and then a semester at the homeschool, or 2 weeks away and then 2 weeks back. But I really believe, even though we have our quirks with our model that we have now, I really believe it's a good model. And the reason why I believe it's a good model is because we can provide an opportunity for kids to learn those hands-on trades. But at the same time, we can prepare them for college if they choose to do that. And so many of our young people are graduates that are graduating from the schools in the county that attend the tech center, earn their credentials, but many of them choose to move on and also go to college. And so because of the model that we follow, we're able to prepare our students in math and science and English, college prep type courses that maybe 25 years ago we didn't do.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember a young man that graduated from Somerset when I was first teaching physics up there. His name was Adam Johnson, and Adam, attended the tech center, but he came back one period a day to take physics. And interestingly enough, then he ended up attending the Navy Nuclear School down in Florida, and after he graduated from the tech center from Somerset. And a year after that, he was admitted to the Naval Academy and became a naval officer. So he started at the tech center,
yeah,
and worked his way into becoming a naval officer.
Yeah.
And I say that with a lot of pride,
Mm-hmm.
because I had a really good relationship with Adam, and I see his banner in Somerset when I drive through Somerset.
Oh, yeah. I love that. I
Yeah.
love seeing these banners on the telephone poles in these
Yeah.
small towns. I
Yeah.
look at them and say, do I know that person? Do I know their kids or, their grandkids or
Yes.
something like that?
Sometimes I get a little distracted. I don't get
Yeah.
distracted with the cell phone when I'm driving, but I'm
Right.
distracted when
Yeah.
I'm driving through town. I see those banners and I'm curious, and
Yeah.
I got to watch for that stoplight coming up. So
Yeah. Yeah, I bucked those norms as a student. Went to Votech, enjoyed that. Like I said, and that welding job helped me get through college.
yeah,
When I came home, and my wife, who also went to Rockwood, she was in the college prep courses. She was a straight A student. I was not.
Right.
And by God's grace, we got together, and she married my high school sweetheart.
Yeah.
But she encouraged me to go to college. It was like 3 days before classes were to kick off at Allegheny College in Maryland.
Wow.
She's like, just go.
yeah,
So I'm like, okay, criminal justice.
right,
2 semesters in, I'm like, I don't want to be a cop.
Yeah.
Thought I did.
Yeah.
So, but met people, and that gave me some general education courses, and then was accepted into a golf turf program at University of Maryland,
okay,
and went there for a while. It was incredibly expensive. Not the right path for me. I was trying to work my way through college, which
Sure.
was extremely difficult.
yeah,
Had some very tough classes there,
wow,
soil science and stuff like that. And I was like, this is tough. I enjoy it. I love the golf. That was one thing I was never on a golf course until my senior year in high school. My senior year, I said, I'm going to play golf. I'm going to play baseball. I played Little League, but
right,
I said, we're going to just enjoy my last year. I
Sure.
quit soccer to work because I wanted to have a vehicle.
Sure.
And in order to do that, you had to work. So I ended up on a golf course for the first time, fell in love with the game.
right,
And moved to Montgomery County, Maryland, which is right outside of D.C.
sure,
I got a great job with the County Revenue Authority there full-time, and it was a great experience. Went to University of Maryland. I started struggling with my classes, and it was incredibly expensive. And so then I transferred. Rutgers had a program that was basically like the same degree you would get from any other state school, specifically tailored to golf course management.
oh, wow,
And it was highly renowned. I went to school with 40 students in my class from all over the country, Hawaii, you name it, every state. I mean, it was just kids from everywhere, and we were all in there for the same reason. So we all got along very well, and then I graduated from there and took a job at Oakmont Country Club in Pittsburgh,
Right.
and then was there for the 2007 U.S. Open.
Oh,
Got to
wow.
meet all kind of professional
Yeah.
golfers.
yeah,
They sent me to California to do the Riviera Country Club. Was the Nissan Open at the time. Got autographs. Went all expenses paid. Go for the week. You work for them this week.
Wow.
And a lot of superintendents, golf course superintendents, they did that kind of thing because they were in a network.
okay,
Where if you had a tournament, if you were at a PGA level course,
right,
and they knew each other, hey, I'll send you a couple guys for your tournament. You send me a couple guys. But the U.S. Open was a different monster. We had 50 on staff and then 100 volunteers,
wow,
just in the grounds department.
wow,
It didn't count volunteers for holding tee signs and stuff like that. But what an amazing experience that
Yeah.
was. And then stayed in the golf course management industry for another 4 or 5 years, and we had Caitlin and decided to come back to Somerset County.
sure,
So,
yeah,
but yeah, it was just you never know. And if you're a
Right.
motivated person and you have interests, I mean, find out what you like to do.
Right.
Here I am, 43, and I still don't know what I want to do. Let's start a podcast.
Well, thanks to those cell phones,
Yeah,
I can
right.
fix my stove when it breaks now because I can
Exactly.
be an appliance repairman. And, no, I agree. Learning, new things is so important. And again, try and do that. And we're fortunate to have computers and YouTube and those sorts of things to learn to do different things. But, I think that's, again, a responsibility, for a school district to be able to provide, young people with opportunities to be exposed to careers because college is so expensive and training programs are expensive. And again, we have a similar past. When I graduated from high school, I went to WVU and I bounced around for 3 years. I'm kind of embarrassed to say that. Bounced around for 3 years between, pre-pharmacy and engineering and business. And
It's so tough for a kid that age to figure out what they want to do for the rest of their life. I admire the people that know they pick that and they still love it to this day. I admire those people. I'm just not one of them.
Yep. I was sitting in the career office down at WVU in my third year. So getting ready to enter my fourth year of college, and I'd taken a lot of physics and chemistry, and some of my friends, I would tutor them in physics, and they would encourage me, you ought to be a physics teacher. So one day I was sitting in the career office and sitting there and thinking, about my life, and I was thinking, who's the happiest person in my life that I know and have truly enjoyed their life, and it was my dad, and obviously, for lots of reasons, but he taught school, he coached, and he had probably about 15 different side jobs over the years, but he truly enjoyed his life, and it was because he spent his time teaching and coaching kids and spending time with kids. And I thought, that's what I want to do. And it was definitely the right decision. Came back in state where it was less expensive, finished my degree, and then taught physics for almost 10 years before coming to Rockwood.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah.
And you've been there ever since.
Been there ever since. Spent almost just short of 4 years as the high school principal. And then, you probably don't even remember, we had a financial mess back in 2007, and the superintendent at that time left, and had a conversation with the board about the future of the district, and the board at the time asked if I would be interested in serving as the acting superintendent. Didn't have my credentials to be a superintendent because the financial mess, was certainly willing to do that. The people of Rockwood have always been very good to me and supportive, and love the district. And at that point, just felt a responsibility to be a part of and be a part of the solution, and agreed to do that for a year. And was also the high school principal and the superintendent at the same time. And a year later, had no intentions of that being a permanent thing. But it did become a permanent thing for I think it was 10 years. And then we had an assistant principal. And the fact of the matter is she was really the principal, but she was the assistant principal, but did all the duties of the principal role, and was blessed to work with her since 2007 when I became the acting superintendent, and she's been in her role that whole time. So
and currently still
there. Misty Demchak. Yep, Mrs. Demchak. And then Jonathan Hale, who's been the elementary principal since 2009. Sam Roseberg was the principal before that for a few years, and had the pleasure working with Sam and getting to know Sam.
Sam was on the podcast.
And graduate of Rockwood. So been a lot of good people over the years.
It's so important because you have some options these days, and I guess in which direction you want to go with educating your children, and there's cyber school now, and homeschooling can be a good option for some, but when we first came to Rockwood, our kids almost went to I think it would have been in Penn Township. We were living in Delmont.
Okay.
And so I thought, this is going to be good for my kids. I went to Little Rockwood. They're going to go to this big school. This will be good. And that didn't happen. And when we came back to Rockwood, I'm like, it's like a little private school.
Yeah.
You know, like they have community nights.
Yes.
And you can draw chalk on the parking lot and get together, and you see your friends and your neighbors and your and that's what we really just loved. And I'm like, as long as common sense abounds in this school district, we'll be incredibly happy to send our kids there. Yeah. And that was most important.
Yeah.
Because
the district really is a community center.
Yeah.
And because we don't have community centers, so the school serves as a community center. So, you know, a lot of responsibility with that.
Yeah. 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 My kids have all loved school, and they must get that from Lindsay, because you know I went, you know, because I had to, but whatever, you know. But I enjoyed my friends, and like I said, it worked out good for me. At the time, most kids don't realize that.
Right.
But looking back, you know, you're like, oh, that was good for me.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So, I would imagine you had some pretty great teachers too when you were.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we did have good teachers. No complaints.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said, people who I always knew, they liked us, but they wouldn't tell us because they wanted to always keep you in check. But,
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely a different generation.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. Sue Barkley was our math teacher. Mm-hmm. We had applied math with Sue.
Okay.
And we gave her such a hard time because it was my VOTEC class, and we were used to being hands-on, you know, and never had to sit in a classroom.
Sure.
But she handled us very well, and I always remember that because she accepted us for who we were and still was able to teach us.
Right.
She never made us go into her box.
Right.
She met us where we were. I always appreciated that about her as a teacher.
Yeah, and you know, I had the pleasure of working with Sue as well, and I think what made her a great teacher. One of the things that made her a great teacher was just maintaining high standards.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important that we maintain high standards academically, behaviorally, you know, for kids. It's hard to do, but I think Sue was certainly one of those teachers that had high standards and high expectations, but supported you.
Yeah, she's like, you guys can do it. You know, she knew we could do it. She had to get it out of us.
Yeah.
Like, you know, she believed in us. I'll say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're just grateful for all the teachers. It's got to be a tough job, K through 12. Maybe tougher these days. I don't know. Do you notice a general lack in manners in kids? I mean,
I think less at Rockwood.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm
maybe
really,
not. Yeah, just overall. Like in the grand scheme.
Yeah, I do.
And I feel like all the things that teachers have to do. You should send your kids to school knowing how to behave so that they don't disrupt the rest of the class. Please, thank you, yes ma'am, yes sir. I'm a big stickler for those.
Right.
And that starts you off on the right foot. You're able to respect and to learn. And
yeah. And unfortunately, we, you know, 30, 40 years ago, maybe all of your students or the majority of your students came to school with that expectation. Unfortunately, the school district sometimes has to teach that expectation, and it takes a while to you know, make that happen.
And that takes away from the things that they're really there to learn.
It does. It does. So, you know, I read a study a few weeks ago. I don't remember what university had put it out, and the study showed that schools are experiencing more toddler-like behavior with their kindergartners than ever before. That temper tantrums that you would expect out of, you know, 2 and 3 year olds.
Yeah.
There are more students that are coming to school and displaying that type of behavior nationwide.
Yeah.
So I think there's definitely you know, validity in what you're thinking.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, though, like you said, you know, it does distract, but we have to find a way to overcome those distractions.
Yeah.
And public education is so important, not only in providing, you know, education for your children and others like your children, but for all students. And so, you know, I always said when I was teaching physics that I had the easiest job in the world, because I was teaching college prep students that were going to be successful and for the most part were studious and did their work.
Yes.
So my job was easy.
Yeah.
The subject might not have been easy, but my job was easy.
Right.
The hardest job were probably the kindergarten teachers who had to teach a lot of different things.
Yes.
And be able to manage a classroom and be responsible for 20 children in their lives.
Yeah.
And couldn't turn their back on those children. And so I don't know, it's definitely a balance.
Our kids were blessed to come home to two parents, a stable home, which makes a huge difference.
Yes.
Not every kid is fortunate to that, and then it falls on the teacher throughout the day to kind of be that role model, that parent figure sometimes, and then you're teaching the lesson, but you're also teaching them how to be a responsible person at the same time.
But kids learn not only from their teachers, but they learn oftentimes from their peers.
Yeah.
So being in a school district like Rockwood, and in an area like we live in here in southern Somerset County, we're fortunate because we have the community that we have, and the majority of our kids come to school and are respectful and do what they need to do. Obviously come from different backgrounds, but for the most part are well-mannered, and so oftentimes kids that don't come with that experience and that background learn from their peers.
Yes.
And I think that's why public education is so important, because our society needs all people to be contributing members of society and good citizens. And so, your children are going to be successful, likely no matter where they go to school, because of the support that they have from you and your wife and an extended family that have supported them. But all children need to be successful, and so public school exposes children to opportunities. I talked about career opportunities and career activities that we do at Rockwood, because many times that's the first place that the kids are exposed to their potential and what they can do in life.
Absolutely. Yeah. And they realize that, and at some point that light bulb goes off, and they're like, "Oh, I can do this," know, and I've got a pathway forward, and this has helped, me. So, can you speak to this situation with the Department of Education on a federal level, and then how does that trickle down to the state and then to a school like Rockwood?
Sure. I think this is somewhat political, but I think that no matter which side of the aisle you fall on, I think that most people would agree that the trust for our government institutions is at an all-time low.
Yes.
And a lot of people would believe that a school or a school district is a government institution because it's a service that is supported by the government. I disagree in the fact that I think that we are a public service. I think that a school district is a public service to the community and to the children and the families that we serve. And I think that the more we can have local control of our schools, the better that is for an area like Rockwood. And so when it comes to the Department of Education and closing the Department of Education, in many ways I think that it outgrew itself and its purpose. And some of the things that come out of Washington, D.C. and the Department of Education don't necessarily apply to Rockwood and our situation. And I think that the folks that are leading our schools in this area, and small and rural schools throughout Pennsylvania, are better positioned to make decisions for their communities and their children than Washington, D.C.
Yes.
So,
amen.
And we can focus on what our mission is, and that is to teach kids to read, write, and do math and study science and social studies and citizenship and all those sorts of things. And at the same time, though, we now have part of our mission is to make sure we're supporting kids that need some support in the areas of mental health and those sorts of things. So that responsibility has fallen on us as districts. And again, that's a balance because I don't necessarily agree. Washington, D.C., Harrisburg may think that we should be teaching morals and values to our kids that align with, either Harrisburg or Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm.
I disagree. I think that responsibility falls on families,
Mm-hmm.
and so the more local control that we have, and that leadership aligns with in the school aligns with the community, I think we're better served the more local control we have. So
Yes.
I don't necessarily. Not necessarily as disappointed as some educational leaders may be,
Yeah.
in that direction that has been taken. So
Yeah, you're able to, take an area like Somerset County and just form your education around the people here, the values here,
right, and the needs.
and the needs. Yes.
Yeah, the needs, and so
Very well put. Thank you.
yeah. Well, it's interesting because I'm often asked, what are our greatest assets in the school district and what are our greatest challenges, and they're the same. It's people, and so our greatest assets are the people truly that are attending school at Rockwood. Our kids, our greatest assets, our families, our teachers, our custodians, our our administrative staff, our administrative support staff, our coaches. We're very fortunate to have the people that we have. At the same time, our greatest challenge is finding enough people, to serve kids. It's becoming more and more challenging to attract teachers. Used to be when we would have an elementary position 15 years ago, we would have 100 applications. Now we might get 10 or 15 applications.
Wow.
When you have an opening, in an area like math or special education, or some of the science areas or foreign language, it's very, very difficult to find qualified teachers, and then you have to be creative. And so we sometimes know that there are good people that maybe have a college education. It might not have just been in education, it might have been in another area, and we can support them in obtaining their teacher certification, but they're a good person that we
Which
can get in. Yeah.
makes all the difference.
Yes.
Yeah, somebody that maybe didn't see themselves as a teacher, but maybe has a very good teaching qualities.
Yeah. So our role has changed. Used to not be our responsibility to, to support the education of somebody wanting to be a teacher.
Yeah.
But that role is something that we've taken on. And
Why do you think it is more difficult today to find teachers than it was?
Well, I think in some cases you certainly, address the challenges of how difficult it is, to be a teacher. It really is. It's hard work, and I walk into an elementary teacher's classroom at the end of the day, and they're exhausted. They truly are.
Oh yeah, give me 4 hours with my kids, I'm done.
and
Let alone 8 hours with somebody else, 20 somebody else's.
Exactly, exactly. And the paperwork and things sometimes is a little overwhelming, that goes along with that. I think that teaching was certainly attractive as far as the benefits that went along with teaching, healthcare and retirement pension, those sorts of things. Some of those things have gone away or changed, and so some of the benefits, the fringe benefits that went along with teaching 30 years ago to enter the profession, have eroded and have gone away. So I think that's a challenge. But I think more people are starting to enter college programs to become teachers, from what we're hearing from the state, and hopefully that's a good thing.
My youngest, she wants to be a teacher.
That's great.
Yeah, yeah, she wants to be a teacher. My middle wants to be a lawyer, and then my oldest is interested in marketing or dermatology.
They can do anything they want to do.
Yeah, I know. I'm so like, I don't know about you, but I'm like, I feel like this is a very good time for kids. Despite what you think about the economy or who's in for 4 years, who's out, I just think that right now is an exciting time for young people. I mean, there's really every opportunity at their fingertips. And like your kids, 2 out of the 3 your kids have done is military has springboarded those opportunities, and even for the trades.
Yes.
Right now, I mean, you're familiar with Mike Rowe,
Yep.
30th Jobs.
Yep.
And I listen to him sometimes, and he's like, the future is in 8th grade right now.
Yes.
He's like, your welders, your electricians, they see this pipeline coming. He's like, they're in 8th grade. Give it a few years. There's going to be a gap in trades, he said, but it will come back.
Right. And we're seeing that. And so, again, going back to those career activities that we do, we're blessed to have Sharon Clapper in the district. Our board has supported her for, 10 to 15 years to serve as an educational consultant for the district.
Oh, nice.
But what she does is she coordinates our career activities and brings employers into the district to sit on panels, meet with our students, serve on graduation projects. She will take groups of students out into the community, whether it be to local hospitals or to one of the aerospace defense contractors in Johnstown, to tour those industries, or into one of the welding shops in Somerset, or manufacturers, and so. Our board has always been very supportive, and when I say our board, we've had lots of different board members over the years, but they've all been committed to supporting that program. And I can't tell you how many young people come back and tell us how thankful they are that they had that experience, because many times they go and their peers never had that experience.
Yes.
And so we're very, very fortunate to have Sharon in the district and the focus of being able to expose kids to opportunities, career opportunities.
Yeah. Also, I think something that you guys do there, is it BLA, Business Leadership?
FBLA, yes.
FBLA.
Yeah, Future Business Leaders.
Yeah,
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was around whenever I was in school. I think if it was, maybe something I would have liked to have done.
It was not. And again, it goes back to our greatest asset, people. And Amber Walker is the business teacher that is also the FBLA advisor. And when she came to Rockwood, about 6 months after I started at Rockwood, interviewed her, for the position. And in that next year, she came to me and to the board and said, I want to start an FBLA program, and didn't know what FBLA was. And she educated us. And we have exposed so many kids over the years to, opportunities through FBLA, or she has exposed so many kids to opportunities.
I think that's great, because that kids can learn that skill, that trade, get the education, and now how do you go out and apply if you're an entrepreneurial-minded person?
Right.
And I had no idea that I was an entrepreneurial-minded person in high school, other than the fact that the time I was little, we wanted to start a motorcycle shop, and we would draw pictures of what it would look like and design logos. And now I just love doing that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe I have a marketing mind. I don't know how to do it, but I enjoy doing it.
Right.
Yeah. I just enjoy that. And if you had asked me what's marketing in high school, I wouldn't have been able to tell you.
Yeah.
But now the kids have access to things that that we didn't then.
Right. Yeah. And so. Coming back to assets and challenges and people, students being an asset, it's also a challenge in the fact that our enrollment has declined significantly. And I don't know if most people realize this, but
that was one of my questions for you.
Okay,
Go ahead.
You jump ahead. You okay?
Yeah, no, that's fine. And I do want to go back to, and maybe this has something to do with it, but as you said, from that federal to state to now local. One thing I want, how is the public school education system funded? Like,
Sure.
And most people know, I know taxes and stuff, but like specific, maybe not even specifically, but generally, where does our revenue come from, and how does that affect the district?
Sure. So it's different in every district, and it depends on your property value within your district. We've been blessed in Rockwood to have Seven Springs and the resort properties there. And I say blessed because about 50 to 60% of our revenue comes from local property taxes, and the other 50%, somewhere around there, you have to have a business major in here to correct me, but would be in state and federal funds. We don't get much in federal funds, a couple $100,000 out of about a $14 million budget.
Right.
But you can have a neighboring district, like Myersdale, that would receive significantly more from the state and federal government, but then they don't have the property tax base.
So it balances out.
It does. And in some years, you're on the receiving end, and other years you're not. So this year is a bad year if you are a school district that receives a lot of your funding from the state and federal government, because the state hasn't passed a budget yet, and the federal government, obviously, they just released federal funds that were frozen.
So is that a question for Carl later?
Maybe, maybe.
The state budget,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. And with the state, and so with the state budget, the challenges are significant, and I don't envy Carl, because the Democrats have control of the House in Harrisburg, and the Republicans have control of the Senate. So the compromise that has to happen with the state budget is somewhere in between.
Yeah.
But the challenges of that state budget are great. Obviously, one of the hangups this year is public transit. Well, public transit doesn't have near the effect on Somerset County as it does Philadelphia or Pittsburgh,
yes.
or what have you. And we could talk all day about the challenges with public education funding, and cyber funding, and all those sorts of things, because that's somewhere that we do lose a lot of revenue, is in cyber school reimbursements. We have about 40 of our students in the district attend cybers. We have about 60 students that are homeschooled. And we've always had a large homeschool population.
Wow, I didn't realize there were that many.
Yeah. And we only have 550 students left in the district.
Yeah.
But we've always had a large homeschool population. And so, but the cyber enrollment has increased. But as our population declines, the cost per pupil spending has increased. And so the cost, or the money that we send to cyber charters, has increased significantly.
Okay.
And so that's been a challenge. But that's probably a conversation, for another day.
So the family decides to do that. That's the public. Rockwood loses that money, and
Yes.
it goes to that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Somewhere between $18,000 and $20,000 a year for a regular education student, and it's
Wow.
almost double that for a special education student.
Wow.
Yeah. So upwards of $700,000 to $1 million.
Well, we can thank COVID for a lot of that. Did you
Yeah.
see a big increase in the alternative education, like homeschooling or cyber, after COVID? Or was it always kind of there? But
It was kind of there a little bit. There was definitely an uptick in cyber enrollment, which is, Rockwood's never really embraced, cyber education. You probably know that a lot of school districts, offer FID days or flexible instruction days, remote days when we have a snow day. We will do that, but we do it as a last resort.
yes.
So we build in 5 snow days into our calendar that are traditional snow days.
Yeah.
And so, and the reason why we pick 5 is because, on average, looking back over the last 35 or 40 years, that average number of snow days is about 4.7.
Wow.
And so some years worse, some years better. But, and so we build those 5 days in because our board and staff believe that educating kids within the walls of the school is superior to
Yes.
an online education. And so, and for many reasons, one of the biggest reasons, though, would be that your children, your wife's here, and your children are going to be engaged if we have online instruction, because you're going to make sure they're there.
Yes.
The students that probably need it the most aren't necessarily engaged on those days.
Yeah.
And so oftentimes they will fall farther behind.
Okay.
So a student that needs some extra, remediation, educational support, that's struggling in reading or math, they tend to not be showing up on those remote instruction days.
Yeah. Where I tend to, selfishly, I say just make it a FID day.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have to take into consideration that give and take of the public school system, where those kids, like you say, who may not have that opportunity to be fully engaged,
right,
or not, and then they fall behind. So it is a give and take for everybody. And
right. And that's easy to, certainly to support that, as well. And we've had those conversations at the board table. And it's probably one of the areas that I'm most passionate about. But again, it's because of, as I said, your children will be successful. The majority of kids will be successful. But we have a significant population of students that will not be engaged on those days and will not receive the same education that they will receive in the classroom.
Well, thank you for looking after those kids.
Yeah,
that means something. Yeah. I'm glad that our district thinks that way.
Yeah.
So
we try to.
Yeah, we're right. I mean, and selfishly, like I said, for us, it would be like, okay, just make it a FID day so they don't have to make up days later in the school year.
Sure.
But that is a selfish thought whenever you think about that population that may not be engaged those days. So.
Well, and we put this year's 5 days at the very end of the school year, and so those days that are built in at Easter are now guaranteed vacation days for the kids and for families.
Yeah.
So,
which we love that.
Yeah.
We love to travel with our kids.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's so important.
Yeah. We're just blessed and fortunate that we can go, and my wife is very frugal and thrifty, and she'll make something happen out of nothing, and I'm like, how'd you do that? But she works magic somehow.
Yeah.
But we do love to travel, and I think it's a good experience for kids if they can do it. There's a big world out there.
Absolutely.
I tell them all the time, like, we live in an amazing place that you don't realize until later in life, and you come back and you appreciate what Somerset County is. But it is a big world, and there's all kinds of things to do and places to go and see. And
it's always great to come home. But I started off at the beginning of our discussion about being blessed and being born into the family I was born into. My dad's family were always travelers, and his father was a teacher as well. Taught him one-room schoolhouse down Upper Ramcat in Fayette County, but always found a way to travel with his family. My dad started his own travel agency so that he could take my brother and I places, and so and just as you travel with your family and are frugal about it. I remember in 2007 we took our kids cross country. The same year that we had the financial mess, took our kids across country to see Yellowstone. Yeah. And I think by the end of that trip, my kids were saying, "Dad, please don't make us eat any more peanut butter and jelly sandwiches." So
yeah, we did that. I think I was 12, and all my two other siblings are older than me, but we went to Yellowstone, and it was a great experience, even at 12 years old.
Yeah.
But we camped, and I don't know how my parents packed that stuff on the airplane. And now as a parent, I appreciate, you're a kid, you're just there, you're alone for the ride. But I remember the backpacks and stuff, and I think we camped 3 of the 5 nights.
Wow.
And I'm like, hey, we did it. But, it was a cool experience. I love that national park program that they have now and it's now free for, national parks are now free admission.
Oh, wow.
I think I read that. But they used to be, if you had a kid in 4th grade, it may still be that way, that the whole family gets in, because that's when they're learning about national parks. Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
I think there are programs. I didn't know they were free, so I could be wrong.
Yeah, don't quote me on that.
But
allegedly free.
I know that they have free events, so week-long periods or things like that. But it may have changed recently, which would be a good thing. Yeah. And you're right. Travel is so important to expose kids. And we've had the opportunity to do some of that at Rockwood, where we have taken groups of kids and gone outside of the area. It could be across the state, could be across the country. I was blessed to have traveled a couple of times with our French teachers to France, and we took our kids over to Normandy on an exchange program. Stayed there for a week in homes with French families, and then spent a couple of days in Paris. And we were able to visit the beaches of Normandy, and the kids went to school for a week with French students.
That's awesome.
And then those students came back to Rockwood for a week, and we did that for a number of years, and then COVID hit, and other opportunities. We take kids on seniors. We try and do a senior trip every year. There were years for we go to New York City over Memorial Day weekend, and it was the first time that a lot of our kids were ever exposed to something like that.
I love the DC trip.
Yeah,
that the sixth graders do.
Yeah,
I think that's so important. No matter, like you said, no matter where you stand, going to DC, it's just an amazing experience. There's so much history.
Right.
So much down there to see, and even the kids at that age, they're impressed.
Right.
Yeah. So that's been fun. We've done that twice now, and I'll have one more trip to DC here next year.
It is a good thing. It is. I wish it were a couple of days longer. I wish it would be an overnight trip and be a little expensive.
It's a lot of walking in one day. Be
Yeah,
prepared to walk.
It is.
If you got a sixth grader this year, be prepared to walk.
So much to see. One of the things, and I know we were going to go a different direction, but one of the things that we've embraced and the board has been supportive of over the years has been our foreign exchange program.
Yeah.
And so we're fortunate to have a local advisor. Her name's Martha Mitchell.
Yeah, I know Martha. I go to church with Martha.
Okay, well, Martha's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And even during COVID, I remember her calling me and saying, Mark, I've got all these foreign exchange students and nobody's taking them. Will Rockwood still take foreign exchange students? And we did. We took 5 that year into Rockwood. And so, yes, we give students from other countries an opportunity to experience the United States.
Yeah.
But selfishly, we expose our kids, most of which will never experience that culture, 2 different cultures from around the world. We've had students, obviously from the common countries like Italy and Spain and Germany and France and Mexico, but we've also had students, from some of the former Soviet republics that have been on sponsorship through the United States State Department, and so. Student last year from Moldova, and most kids would never have even heard of Moldova, let alone where to find it on a map.
Right.
But to have now a peer sitting in their classroom with them,
you can gain an appreciation for their way of life, their culture. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Without ever having been there.
Yes.
But, yeah, that's good. I do love that. I know I've talked to Martha a couple of times, and.
It's a great program.
Yeah, and I know Irv's been on the podcast before.
Oh, yeah.
So he's told me, about their exchange students, and they do the program.
Yep.
So, it's a good thing. So I think we covered the financial end. Is there anything else that you want to say about?
I think just we were talking about the assets
Yes.
of people and challenges, and so I started talking about the challenge of not having enough staff, but enrollment is definitely a challenge for the district, and the reason why it's a challenge is we need to be able to maintain the programs that we offer our kids, and it's not just extracurricular sports, it's academic programs and some of those co-curricular programs like FBLA, like FFA, and those sorts of things that we need to be able to maintain, and to do that we need kids.
Yeah.
And so when in the late 70s, I think there were 1,400 kids at Rockwood. When I started there in 2003, there were 900. We're down to 550 students in the district.
Wow.
And so it becomes more and more difficult to maintain all of our programs and to maintain quality programs, because now you're stretching the same kids over many programs, trying to make them work, and then they get pulled and overstretched, if you will.
Yeah. Well, I just know my middle daughter will be starting 7th grade and she's playing soccer this year. And I mean, when have you ever heard of Rockwood not being able to put together a junior high soccer team?
Right.
Like soccer was and is a big sport in Rockwood.
Right. Yeah.
So you see that, and you're like, is it just kids aren't coming out to play, or is it the enrollment issue? Is
it's a combination. We still have volleyball. We have the opportunity for junior high football over at Berlin. Cheerleading in Berlin. Band at Berlin. Students can go to Myersdale now for cross country and track and rifle, and so we're starting to share more and more programs.
Do you like that?
I don't like that we can't offer our own programs. I wish that we could offer everything at Rockwood, but I'm very thankful for the opportunity for kids.
Gotcha.
Because otherwise, our kids wouldn't have the opportunity to participate in the programs at some of the other schools.
Yeah. I will correct myself. There is junior high soccer, but they'll be playing co-ed.
Correct.
Because they can't fill both teams.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And it used to be that junior high was 7 through 9, and then JV and varsity was 10 through 12. But because of declining enrollment in many of the districts, varsity is now 9 to 12, and so you're only drawing from 2 grades for junior high, 7th and 8th grade, which has made it a challenge.
Yeah. Especially if you have a couple small classes come up through.
Yes. Yeah. People ask, why have we seen such a decline in enrollment? I'm sure in your line of work, your line of full-time work, the homes that are for sale in the Rockwood Area School District, and there aren't many. Yeah. Which isn't much different than if you were to go to the Berlin School District. There aren't many homes for sale, and so people ask, well, why aren't people having children? Why, why? And so COVID, while it offered some blessings
in disguise.
Yes.
Yeah. I'd say we had some of those.
Yeah. But it also changed something about Somerset County, and I believe that Somerset County was discovered, during COVID. It became a place that people wanted to come to get away from Pittsburgh or DC or where have you. And what they discovered was it's not only a great place to come and hang out, but it's safe. And at the time, much more affordable than it was to live in Pittsburgh or Washington, D.C. And so a lot of our homes that would have historically been, family homes have been bought up as second homes or short-term rentals and those sorts of things. So there aren't as many affordable homes available for our young working families.
Yeah, to move into the area.
Yeah. And so that that's a challenge.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that kind of sums it up.
Yeah.
In a way that I really hadn't thought about.
Yeah.
I knew enrollment was down, but I didn't quite understand the reasons. Especially whenever it's such a wonderful place to live. You're like, it's a great school district. Why is enrollment down?
Right.
Just a combination of factors.
Yeah, it is a great place to live. I could be on the billboard for Somerset County, and you probably could be as well. Love the area, love the people. Relatively safe. The bike trails, the rivers, lakes. We're certainly blessed to have grown up here and be able to live here. So yeah.
AI.
Yes.
Any thoughts on that and how kids are navigating their access to AI and as it pertains to schoolwork or, I don't like to call it artificial intelligence. I call it artificial information.
Yes.
Because I don't think it's only as intelligent as the people giving it information.
Exactly.
So I call it artificial information because in a way it is that.
Yes.
Because it's not your own thoughts. It's somebody else's. So how do teachers recognize papers that are done on AI like that?
Yeah.
What are the challenges? What are some positives that you see?
Right. So I'll probably have a little different spin on AI, and I'll start with that with the fact that it's so important that kids are getting their information from a reliable and trustworthy site, and Facebook may not be that place, or Google. The links that come up aren't necessarily always going to be,
Right.
the most reliable. So we need to teach our kids, what's true, and where they can seek out honest information. But as far as AI, I kind of welcome it a little bit in my world, because I'm not going to lie, I'm a math and science guy, so I can do numbers in my head, but I'm not a blessed writer. So somebody that can sit down and write a paper in a couple of hours, it may take me a couple of days, or so I've used ChatGPT a time or two with an email, or a newsletter article or something. Not that I'm using somebody else's thoughts.
Yeah.
I put my thoughts into it, or something that I've written, put it into ChatGPT, and then I'll ask ChatGPT to improve, and then I get a version of what my thoughts were, but said much better than I said it. So I embrace it that way, almost like a calculator. So
Yes.
When we were kids, the controversy was whether or not you would allow your kids to use a calculator in your classroom, or whether you required them to use paper and pencil to do math problems. And I saw it as a tool. So some of my colleagues teaching chemistry and physics, when I first started my career, didn't allow students to use calculators. I saw it just the opposite, that it was a tool that they could do their job more efficiently. Just as you buy tools,
Yes, absolutely.
to make your life more efficient.
Yeah.
A power saw is going to make your life more efficient than using a handsaw.
Yeah. Amen for AI tools.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So I see it as a tool, but we need to teach kids to use those tools responsibly.
Yeah, it's like the new internet. Like the internet has good and bad.
Yes.
The phones are good and bad. The phone is a tool. I mean, I use mine all the time for work, for personal, for filming this podcast right now. But they can, it's like you said, it's a tool. How you use it, and look at it that way. So that's a good approach.
But it's a challenge, because if you think about the advancement in technology 30 years ago, from a regular calculator to a scientific calculator to our first computers, and then to the internet, that change occurred over, 10-year period maybe. But if you now look at the amount of change that occurs, that type of change doesn't occur in 10 years or even 10 months. Sometimes it's 10 days or 10 weeks that there are advancements in technology.
Yeah.
And so to keep up with it, dinosaurs like me, are probably going to struggle a little bit with it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm not technically minded. So it is a challenge for me, too, to even understand what it is, what it's capable, and how to use it to help me in some way. Making a website for the business, or helping me with this podcast. I mean, I'm sure there's ways that it can help me. I just don't understand how.
Sure. Yeah.
So, and that may be a class someday, is how to understand and use AI to make a website for kids. And if you're, as these things, like you said, develop, now you have to keep up. Well, we weren't thinking about teaching a class on AI.
Right.
But maybe now we have to consider.
Right. Well, even during COVID, the first couple of weeks of COVID, we weren't allowed to be together. So I hated working remotely from my home, and I did it for about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And so the principals were in their homes, and I was in my home, and we were learning to use Google Docs.
Yeah.
And so they were on their computers, and I was on mine, and we're all editing the same document, right, at the same time. Like that's just unbelievable. Yeah. So what are the advancements going to be 10 years from now? Or
I don't envy educators going through this these rapid changes, because you have to adapt and move quickly, and you have to be looking ahead. What's on the horizon, and how do we adjust? Here it comes, or you're behind.
Yeah, it's our responsibility to guide kids too, so that they can become better learners. So lifelong learners has always been a slogan within the education world,
Yeah.
and mission statements and all those sorts of things. Now more than ever, it's important that we teach kids to be lifelong learners. I feel bad for senior citizens that have not stayed up with technology, and some have. But there are some that it's a struggle. So just a few years ago, as an example, the PIAA required playoff tickets to be purchased through the computer on an app, and you couldn't buy tickets anymore at the gate. Well, that was a challenge for many of our senior citizens, and so I worry about the future.
It's the one button problem. You look at the way you get your news nowadays. Most of my news comes through a podcast.
Yeah.
I rarely ever watch the news on television.
Right.
But that's they call the one button problem. You just turn it on, and these people that don't know how to access this information are just turning on the TV. Well, there's very many sources, other places, if you're willing to go on, download the app. There it is.
Right.
So it can be easier that way.
Yeah.
So what's the future for you?
So superintendents
Yeah.
are at-will employees, and they're employed on 3 to 5 year contracts.
Okay.
I am in year 2 of a 5-year contract, so certainly committed to the Rockwood Area School District for the next 3 years. After that, it will be up to the board. I love serving in the district. From that perspective, I have no desire to go anywhere else. I truly do love the community, love the area. Of course, there's always opportunities to go elsewhere and make more money and do all those sorts of things. That doesn't interest me. Really doesn't. Just because, again, I'm fortunate. This is going to maybe sound a little crazy, but I take a lot of pride and a lot of responsibility in the fact that I'm guessing we're 90% or more of the employees in the Rockwood Area School District are people that were recommended while I was superintendent. And so, again, I take a lot of pride in that.
Yeah.
And
not a lot of turnover.
No. And those people are good people. And so, selfishly, I know what I have.
Yes.
And I talked about going away to Japan, in July, and I was gone for a couple of weeks. I didn't have to worry about things being taken care of. That there were people in positions that were empowered to do whatever needed to be done in my absence. It'd be difficult to take off 3 weeks during the school year when students are in the building. But I'm blessed to have a lot of great people and local people.
Yes.
So our business manager was a graduate in 2009. Our high school principal has been in the district, and served in her capacity since 2007. Elementary principal since 2009. That's unheard
incredible.
of.
Yeah, it's
it
incredible.
really is. The average life of a superintendent in Pennsylvania is 2.8 years.
Wow.
And so, I've been blessed to be here 18. And,
we're blessed to have you.
Thanks. Honestly, the what will drive my future is my personal life, my family, my children. Someday I look forward to being a grandfather.
Yeah.
And that may change my focus a little bit.
Yeah. Well, you've earned that.
Depending on where they are. They all seem to want to move back to Somerset County and have that aspiration.
Yeah.
But there aren't many military bases and major hospitals
right.
in Somerset County. Yeah. But
it sounds like you've raised 3 great children, you and your wife. And,
thank you.
Yeah, we're blessed to have you here. We hope you stick around. And I think I speak for very many people saying that. Just what I
thank you.
What I know and hear. So
it's been a great place to be, and we're still growing. We're maintaining our facilities is our priority.
Yep. You guys have done some work there over the summer.
Yeah. We can't put the district in debt and spend millions and millions of dollars.
Yes.
But we can spend what we do have to maintain our facilities, and that's been our focus. maintaining roofs, maintaining electrical systems. This summer's project, we're still in the dark. I'm being told that by beginning of the week to midweek next week, we're going to have full power back on in the district.
Nothing like pushing it to the
No.
left.
We were told it was going to be the end of July, and then it was August 4th, and then it was August 11th, and then it's August 18th. I just met with the contractors this morning. It may be midweek till we have full power. I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
Nothing like crunch time.
No,
I work better under pressure.
Yeah, but that electrical system needed to be upgraded. So it was the original electrical service brought into the district back in the late 50s. Wow. And so Dar Construction out of Berlin did a full upgrade on our electrical service, changing out majority of the electrical panels throughout the building. And that ended up being a little over a $1 million project. And it's taken some time to get it done, but now we will be able to upgrade other things, grow our other programs, our welding shop, or adding some HVAC in different areas that hasn't had any type of air conditioning, but there's a need for it. So that would be our next direction. Our next step would be to upgrade our controls that were put in the early 90s that are now antiquated, and you can't find people to work on them. Other exciting things when the kids come back, when students pull in around the Rocket, they're going to see a new greenhouse.
Oh yeah, I've read that in the newsletter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Very excited about that. It was a last-minute opportunity for a donation that came from Wheeler Brothers through EITC funding, and so we were able to put that money into a greenhouse for our FFA program. So
awesome.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Well, yeah, thanks to all. I know people donate and do things like that, so we are very grateful to the community that supports these kids.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, hey, you've kept my attention the whole time, so I'm grateful. There's a ton of information here. I hope that people listen, because we are incredibly grateful to have you around, and all the teachers and staff there, including Officer Doman. I was really happy about his acquisition and that position being created. Just safety is a huge thing, and so I hope we can even add to him. Yeah. But that was a great start, and the kids love him. Yeah. Grateful for that. I'm glad the forethought was there, and the board and the administration recognized that. I mean, us as parents are very grateful for that acquisition.
Well, you want to feel safe sending your, you want to have the peace of mind sending your kids to school that they're going to be safe. And so, he certainly gives you that, that feeling of, having that additional added layer of safety. But he also serves as a mentor to kids too. And,
I've heard that.
Which is really neat. And that was our focus.
Positive male role model. Yeah. Another one in the building, and that's awesome.
Exactly. I'm not going to lie. When back in the early 2000s, when we first had to lock our doors and couldn't let parents in the building just to walk over to the elementary and pick up their kids, I didn't like that very much, because I didn't like having to change that culture. It's the school, it's the community school, and now we're locking everybody out. But
you do it well. It's the right thing in today's day and age.
It is.
It's not an inconvenience for us. It's just, I'd rather it be that way than not.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I got a gift for you. There's your Route 281 podcast hat.
Right.
So if you see this floating around the county, it's somebody that's been on this podcast.
All right.
So,
I'll wear that proudly.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Very nice. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I really appreciate you doing this. And we definitely appreciate that you're here in our district.
All right.
Mark Bauer, thank you.
Yep, absolutely. Hope I didn't talk too much.
Not at all. Great.